Hey folks, Chris Van Viver here from WhyLogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Today I want to show you how you can add instant air and top end to your Logic projects or the individual tracks in your session using only the vintage graphic EQ. So if you ever feel like that your mixes just aren't quite shiny or airy enough in the top end as you hear in your reference tracks and other professional mixes, this can clear it right up for you. Now, back when 10.4 was released, we were introduced to the Vintage EQ collection, which was based off of 3 analog hardware EQs that are highly revered in the industry. If we dig right into our mix here, take a look down here, we have the option of either the console EQ, which is based off of a Neve analog EQ, the graphic EQ, which is based off of an API EQ, and the Tube EQ, which is based off of a Pultec. And these are great. They sound fantastic. We open up the graphic EQ. The graphic EQ is very different from what we're used to because all of the knobs are fixed at specific intervals. So we have 31 hertz, 63 hertz, all the way up to 16K. And so it's a different way of approaching EQ, but can be very helpful because it helps you hone your ears to just the tone or sound of your mix or track instead of focusing on the visual representation of something maybe like the channel EQ. Now, before we dig into this, let's take a listen to my track. This is a mix that I worked on quite a while ago, and I love this mix. But now, looking back, I'm feeling maybe this track deserves a little more air on the top end. So let's just take a listen to what I have.
I get confused, I never know where I stand, and then you smile and hold my hand. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you.
Cool. Yeah, all right. So I dig that. I like the bottom end, but I'm feeling like this track deserves a little more air on the top end. So like we mentioned, the graphic EQ, each knob is set to a specific frequency. However, we have this option to tune up or down the different frequency bands. So we're not actually locked in to 31 hertz or 16K. In fact, if we drag it down, we can change the intervals of which each band is working with. And if we drive this up, which can go as high as 32K, which is actually kind of outside of our ability to hear. But check it out, the 32K band is actually designed to be a subtle lift on the top end. So let's listen to this section again, and I will drive it all the way up to 12 decibels, and then we'll bring it down to a more respectful level.
You winking. I get confused, I never know where I stand, and then you smile and hold my hand. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you.
So as you heard, the top end just gets this subtle lift. It's actually so pleasing to my ears, it's kind of hard to not overdo it. But we're not going to crank this up by 12 decibels. We'll try something a little more respectful now.
You winking. I get confused, I never know where I stand, and then you smile and hold my hand. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you.
It's just so awesome. It sounds so good. Now let's dig into what exactly is happening here. So real quick, I'm going to introduce a new track and create a new audio track. I'll make sure to mute this track because we're going to introduce the test oscillator, which is a tool to help us identify what's going on with processors in our signal chain, etc. I'm going to set this to pink noise because pink noise tends to be a little darker than white noise. And I'll introduce the channel EQ. So we can see here that there is this constant noise that's occurring, which slopes downward, which gives each frequency equal weight across the spectrum. Now, if I introduce the graphic EQ between these two plugins, and then we can open up the channel EQ, if I now tune up to 32K on the top band, check it out, watch what's going on the channel EQ here. It's just a subtle lift right at the top there. And if you can't quite see it, instead, let me bring this back down to 0. And then we'll use a free plugin from Voxengo, which is called Span. And now we should be able to see this. We can even drag this open a little more. And Voxengo Span just has a different way of measuring the weight of each frequency across the spectrum. But check it out. Once again, let's lift this right up. And you can see that lift occurring right there. Watch as I bypass the plugin. And it drops right down. So it's this very subtle lift in the top end. It actually goes quite far down, maybe 11 or 12K. And just like that, we're able to add instant top end to our tracks. It doesn't sound brittle, doesn't sound overly aggressive, and it just adds this nice polish at the top. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, as always, I highly suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself. Every week I'm posting new videos, new emails, and new posts to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Thanks so much.